Can you hear it? Probably not. But if you watch closely, you can see its effects. It is the voice that whispers to your daughter, "Don't raise your hand, you might get it wrong." Just as she is about to answer in class, it is the voice that convinces your son, "You are not a math person," so he stops trying altogether. It is the reason your once bold child now says, "I can't," before they have even touched the challenge in front of them. This isn't a phase. This isn't just shyness. This is the work of a silent internal toxin, and its name is the inner critic. For the next 15 minutes, we are going to go on a mission together. This is not just a talk. It is a video, a masterclass that I create in performing brain level surgery on this critical voice. We will uncover where it comes from, how it operates in the shadows of your child's mind, and I'll give you a complete step-by-step protocol to help your child detoxify this voice and build a lifelong inner ally in its place. If you are ready to give your child the greatest gift, the gift of a peaceful and powerful mind, then you are in the right place. Let's begin. Before we can evict this unwelcome tenant, we need to know who we are dealing with. So let's diagnose the problem. The inner critic is not your child's true voice. It is a distorted recording of every fear, every correction, every comparison, and every perceived failure they have ever encountered. It is a mental parasite that feeds on their self-doubt. I want you to think about the last time your child faced a setback. Maybe they failed a test. The healthy, true response would be, "Ouch, that hurt. What can I learn from this?" But the inner critic doesn't do that. It twists the narrative. It says, "See, I told you you were stupid. You'll never get this. You are a failure." This is not humility. This is a cognitive distortion. And it has a physical neurological footprint. When this critic is active, it fires up the amygdala, the brain's alarm system, triggering a cascade of stress hormones like cortisol. This cortisol literally weakens the connections to the prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thoughts, problem solving, and emotional regulation. So your child isn't just feeling bad. Their brain is being hijacked, making it biologically harder for them to think clearly and see a way out. This critic shows up in many disguises. It is the perfectionist. If I can't do it perfectly, I won't do it at all. It is the comparer. Everyone is better than me. It is the catastrophizer. If I fail this test, I'll fail the grade. I'll never get into college. My life is over. I wanted to think right now, which of these voices sounds most familiar in your home? The voice of perfectionism, of comparison, or of catastrophe? Just hold that in your mind. Recognizing the pattern is the first step to breaking it. Now, we move from understanding to action. This is a 3-step protocol. It is sequential and is profound. Step 1, voice and externalize. The naming and taming phase. You cannot fight an enemy that lives in the shadows. So our first job is to bring it into the light. We need to help your child understand that they are not their thoughts. The critical voice is just a thought, and it can be questioned. Here is how we do this. We give the critic a name, not a scary name, but a silly, ridiculous one. Let's call him the grumpy gremlin, or her, the mean girl radio. This is a psychological technique called externalization. It creates a crucial separation between the child and the critical thought. So when your child says, "I'm terrible at soccer," you gently reframe it. You say, "Is that your grumpy gremlin talking again?" It sounds like he's telling you the old, "you are terrible" story. This does something magical in their brain. It takes a global identity label statement, I am terrible, and turns it into a specific passing event. A thought is happening. The next part of this step is to create a ritual. Get a journal and call it the Gremlin Journal. When the critical thought arises, have your child draw a picture of the gremlin or write down what it's saying. Today, my gremlin told me I would embarrass myself at the school play. By putting it on paper, they are taking the power out of the thought and holding it at arm's length. They are learning to observe their mind instead of being lost in it. Step 2. Validate and reframe. Building a bridge to a new thought. Once we have named the critic, our instinct might be to rush in and say, "That's not true. You're amazing." But that often doesn't work. It feels dismissive. So instead, we build a bridge. We do this with validation and reframing. First, you validate the emotion behind the thought. If your child says, "I'm going to fail this presentation," you don't say, "No, you won't." You connect with the feeling. You say, "It sounds like you are feeling really nervous about standing up in front of the class." That makes total sense. It is a scary thing to do. Validation is like giving the emotion a hug. It says, "I see you. I hear you. It is okay to feel this way." This calms the amygdala. It de-escalates the panic. Then, and only then, do we gently reframe. Reframing is not about replacing a negative lie with a positive lie. It is about finding a more balanced, more accurate perspective. So after you validate, you can ask a curious question. "I hear your gremlin is saying you are going to fail. I'm wondering, what's one small part of this presentation that you actually feel a little bit prepared for?" Or, "Remember that time you were scared to try out for the team, but you did it anyway? What did that teach you about yourself?" You are not giving them the answer. You are guiding their brain to search for its own evidence of competence and resilience. You are helping them build the natural pathway that challenges the critic instead of just obeying it. Step 3. Build the inner ally. The installation of self-compassion. This is the most important long-term step. We are not just quieting the critic. We are building a new permanent resident in your child's mind, the inner ally. The inner ally is the voice of a kind, supportive friend. It is the voice we cultivated in. Step 2. But now we are making it automatic and internal. The primary tool for this is self-compassion. We have to teach our children how to be kind to themselves. The research on self-compassion, led by experts like Dr. Christine Neff, is clear. It is a far more powerful motivator for growth than self-criticism ever could be. Here is a simple, powerful practice. Teach your child the self-compassion brick. When they are struggling, guide them to say 3 things to themselves. The first one, number one. This is a moment of suffering. This is mindfulness, acknowledging the pain without judgment. Number 2, suffering is a part of life. This is common humanity. I'm not alone in this. And number 3, may I be kind to myself? This is self-kindness. You can make it even simpler for younger children. It is okay. Everyone has hard days. I'm doing my best. Another practice is to use ally affirmations. These are not the cheesy, "I'm the best" affirmations. They are credible, action-based statements. Things like, "I'm someone who keeps trying. I'm learning and growing. My courage is bigger than my fear. Have them repeat these phrases daily. They are like installing new software in their mental operating system. By consistently doing this, you are helping them build a neural network of self-support. You are giving them a tool they can use for the rest of their lives. Let's weave this protocol into the fabric of your daily life. Okay, you try to imagine your son comes from school, okay, slams his backpack and says, I'm the worst player on the basketball team. I shouldn't even bother. The old way will be, that's not true. You are great. Just practice more. Okay, you try to think, this is actually right to make this feels dismissive and doesn't address the core wound. Now, I'm going to tell you about a detox protocol in action. The first one, voice and externalize. You sit with him and say, wow, it sounds like your grumpy gremlin is on the court with you today. What's he saying? Number 2, validate and reframe. It must feel really frustrating to feel like you are not keeping up. That's a tough feeling. I remember last week you made that great pass. What was working for you in that moment? Okay, number 3, build the inner ally. Later, you might say, you know, even the greatest athletes have bad days. What would your inner ally say to you right now to remind you that you belong on that team? This is not a one-time fix. This is a new language. This is a new way of being with your child's emotional world. The goal is not to create a child who never has a negative thought. The goal is to create a child who has a resilient, compassionate system for dealing with those thoughts when they arise. You are building their psychological immune system. You now hold the map. Okay? And then you understand the 3-step protocol to detoxify the inner critic. Voice and externalize. Validate and reframe. And build the inner ally. This work is the profound act of love. It is the deep internal work that complements everything else we do. When we clear this internal toxin, we unlock our children's true potential, not just for achievement, but for a life of peace, courage, and self-respect. This journey is challenging, but you are not alone. If this video has given you hope and a clear path, please pay it forward. Click the like button and share this video with one other parent, teacher, or caregiver who needs to see this. Let's create a wave of mental clarity for our children. Subscribe to the channel and ring the bell because this concludes our Total Toxin Detox series. But our work together is far from over. Now, I wanted to hear from your heart. Which step of this protocol resonates most deeply with you? Is it giving the critic a name, the power of validation, or the practice of building the inner ally? Tell me in the comments. Your story might be the beacon of hope for another parent. Thank you for your incredible commitment. Thank you for believing that your child's inner world is worth fighting for. Now, go forth and silence the critic. I'll see you in my next video.